Alright everyone, welcome back to Banished with the Red Ketchup Mod. I didn't play any without you, so don't worry, you didn't miss anything here. Just to remind you where we're at, we've got 6 extra laborers, we've got 12 tools, which isn't terrible, but no clothes. So what we really need to be doing here is finishing this up. We need to get some iron converted over. So let's see, do we have it? Yes, we've got plenty of iron ore. So let's go ahead and put an extra person in here and get that going. Once we get this built, we can start working to convert some things that will eventually become clothing for us. We've got cotton and flax that we can turn into cloth and linen respectively, and that should be helpful for us. We've got 1100 food with only 23 people, so I'm not too worried about that. You might recall my little tip here about gathering these kinds of things. It's a little bit hard to see sometimes, but like there's some flax down in there, and so we'll keep gathering that for the time being. Let's see how we're doing here. We've got some iron, and they're already putting it across the street here, so hopefully we'll get this tailor built and we'll start making some of that soon. It's a delicate balance, like any survival style game like this. We also need to make sure that we're getting plenty of stone, so we'll use our stone collection tool to make sure that we're grabbing some of that stone. Up here no, I got some extra flowers there. That's okay. One thing, I don't remember if I mentioned this or not down here, but for our trading, right now we've got nothing in our trading inventory. So what I like to do is, flowers we don't really need, fodder and thatch right now we don't really need. Those things have their purposes. Later we could use flowers to make perfume. We can use fodder and thatch to make, in some setups you can use fodder and thatch to make fuel. You can also use it in the stables to help produce fertilizer if you want to work on that part of the tech tree. This game, as you'll learn, is really up to how you want to play, and not everyone will play the same, and that's okay. As far as I'm concerned, that's okay. So we'll keep making a little bit more iron here. Now that this is going up, they're probably going to bring the rest of the iron to the schoolhouse, but we don't want to run out of tools if we can help it. So maybe we will switch over and make some stone tools for a little while. Yeah. The game is upset at me for not having more stone available, but I can only do what I can do, game? I can only do what I can do. So right there, sorry, I should go a little bit slower. I am turning 12 cotton into 3 to 4 cloth. And then what we can do is, using this drop down menu, we can change that cloth into coats. So now it's warning me we're low on tools. I know, we're working on it. We are absolutely working on it. I think we need to get some of these extra laborers heading up here to get more stone for us. That's pretty urgent need. We've got people running all around the map getting various things for us. This game is very tempting to just, zoom out and click the gather all and just boom, get it all. But really, you need to be as strategic as you can be in these early stages of the game. We know I was about to say we know we're not going to starve to death, but now we're down to 800 food because I didn't gather food for a little while. So, you know, you can't be too careful about things. But we can see here that the gatherers are doing pretty well. And this little fish farm is doing okay. It's good for food variety, which helps with your health, but it hasn't been great for an overall amount of food. And I don't know how much that's affecting this fish farm. It looks like it brought in 500 last season, so that's pretty darn good. What we could do if we want is make another kale field, if that becomes necessary. You might have heard a little bit of disdain in my voice, which is my own personal lack of enjoyment in kale, which of course shouldn't influence my playing of the game at all, but that's just, you know, sometimes our biases come out. So we're making lumber, which we don't need 130 lumber right now, so I'm going to switch that back to firewood. It's already late summer. As you'll find, the seasons, when you're playing on 5X, seasons click by pretty quick, so try to keep on top of things here. I'm just marking more of this flax so that we can eventually start making, after we make a few coats here with the cloth, when we run out of the cloth, then we'll make some coats out of, well, we'll make some linen out of the flax, and we'll make some coats out of the linen. And eventually, our hope is that we will... Alright, let's make a few more stone tools here while we work on rounding up some more iron. Sorry, I'm taking in a lot of information and not telling you all of it. So they were making iron, which was great, but they were making iron that all got used to go to the schoolhouse. So we need to gather more iron ore so that they can make more iron ore into more iron. Okay, so we got a little indicator here. You probably heard the little beep 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 sound. This is a merchant that has arrived, and once your city's bigger, if you're on the other side of the map, you can just click this and it'll center you on that. So you might want to zoom in a little bit if you're interested. You can watch the people gathering here. Sometimes they'll walk over to drop things off. Let's see what he brought us. So he brought us plum seeds. See, this is really great. You want this. But we don't have a lot to trade this guy for these plum seeds. We need 2,500. We have 223 value. That's not going to do it. Now, one thing we can do, we can zoom out here. You can click this little pin. Oh, I already had it pinned. That's odd. You can pin it. That means he won't sail away until I let him go. And now I can look here. How much are clams worth? How much are coats worth? Do I want to give away these coats that I just spent all this time trying to make? Probably not. This guy won't take food, so I can't give him my extra kale. Not that I would want to, because my people need it to eat. But we've got some stone tools, but they're not that valuable, and we probably need them more than this. So we're not anywhere near ready. Now, more advanced goods, so like I could trade stone, that's worth 8, but we don't have that much. And even if I had 200 stone, I wouldn't want to give it away for food that we're able to gather, right? So there's a balancing act here. But as the population grows and we need this food number to go up, then we'll need to trade for more varieties of food like plum seeds than we could put an orchard in right here. But for right now, we'll dismiss this guy, I think, and let him come back with some different seeds at another time. One thing you might notice, I'm sort of avoiding all of the very obvious copper that is right here in the middle of our town. Why am I not getting the copper and turning it into copper bars? Great question. The answer to that is because we're solving a more immediate issue at this point, which is clothes and tools. But now that our tools are going to stabilize, it's going to start cranking out iron, and then we'll start making actual iron tools. Once we start making iron tools, they'll last longer, so we won't need to make tools as much. So then I can start turning copper ore into copper. Then I could either make copper tools with that, or consider trading copper here, because essentially smelted copper would be pretty valuable. But at this point, we're not quite there. So you can see all these little nodes. I don't know what they're actually called, but these little things here that represent some wild food. We'll go ahead and collect those up since they're close. We also have the question mark here. The school's ready to go. So let's throw a teacher. Not throw, that's the wrong verb. Let's place a teacher in this establishment. We might actually get to see the teacher walk over there at some point. But there may not be students available. If someone is school age, we need some trees. Are we not getting trees? No. Got 15 logs last season. Alright, I think we're gonna add another person here. But, sorry, a tangent there, but the teacher will, as someone ages into being school age, I want to say they start at maybe age 5, something like that. So when they're wee little, they just run around. Like Dory, the 1-year-old that lives in this house, just runs around. You see them sometimes animated, and they'll just say child. They're not doing anything. They're just running around the community. There goes one. But as they get, like this 6-year-old should be in school, but they're going to go right to the labor force when they're 10. But some of these other ones, these 1-year-olds, when they get older, they'll go to school when they get old enough to be admitted to the school. So we're going to have a nice little crop of students. Oh, we got one. We got a student. So we have one student. And you can see this up here in the informational panel. 19 adults, 1 student, and 8 children. Now that student is basically, they're going to have to go to school for a little while. We're not going to get the benefit of their labor just yet. But eventually, they'll be old enough, and then they'll be more effective laborer because they went to school. I don't know how true that is to real life, but it's a game mechanic, so we'll enjoy it. Now you're probably noticing there's some gold and some silver nodes here. We will eventually gather those, but we're not quite to the let's goof around and try to make lots of money and have fun stage. We're still balancing a bit more of a survival part of the game. At least that's my read on where we're at right now. You may disagree. One thing, because we've got this circle up here of gathering, that means we're not going to expand the city that way. We could maybe put an iron mine into this mountain. It looks like a really nice place to put that. But what I'm thinking about doing is expanding the road this way so that we can gather these resources. Or we could expand the city down along here and gather this way and build roads down along this way. It's really, you know, sort of up to the whim of the creator, the game player, how you want to go about that. Alright, now we're going to go with iron tools. I would like to switch to steel, but we need a coal mine for that, and we're not quite to the let's build a coal mine stage, I gotta be honest. So I'm just gonna gather up a little more of this. We still don't have a stockpile of clothes, and that bothers me that we're lacking clothes. I mean, it's already the 5th year. We should be getting a decent amount of clothes. Let's see if we, yeah, I don't think that'll kill us to have our people walk that far to get trees. Seem to be doing okay. Even without roads. I'm going to go ahead and make an executive decision here to expand along the shoreline. So I'm going to build a road. Maybe let's do this. We'll just keep it along here a bit. And then let's do this. We'll come down here. And this will speed up the work down in this area. Go ahead and give them a little stockpile here, that way when they gather resources in this area they can drop them off here if they want. And we can think about maybe putting some other shoreline businesses down here. We could do another trader, we could gather other types of resources. We're getting to the point in the game now that we can begin to think about how to expand. We've got 2,300 food again, but again, you know, be paying attention to what time of year it is. To have 2,300 at the beginning of spring is actually pretty darn good. So all these times I keep marking to gather food, that's what they're doing. They're listening to me and they're gathering the food up. A little, you know, 8, 10 at a time, and it's making a difference, which is great. Now some people are probably watching this thinking, this does not seem fun at all. All you're doing is clicking and clacking and micromanaging. But to be honest, this is a micromanagement game. If you're not interested in keeping tabs on food and iron ore production and all of that kind of stuff, this may not be a game for you. But if this kind of thing is enlightening to you, then it's fantastic. I love the city building aspect of it, but I also love the historical aspect. Okay, there should be enough extra. Okay, so we've got 21 cotton. We've got 28 flax. Why did that not get made into linen? Anyways, alright, we're out of iron. How are we doing? Do we have any iron ore? We have 3 iron ore. Okay, so for now, we are going to... We're going to do this. We're going to put that on iron. We're going to get some folks gathering this iron ore. They might go with the little circle with the X through it, you know, the not working symbol. But we're not going to be scared of that right now. We're going to go ahead and let them do that, because if they're out of work, if they don't have enough iron ore, what they'll do is they'll revert to being a laborer. So they'll probably end up gathering this. But there's enough people bringing some of that back that he might get back to work soon. So one thing that I could do, since I've sort of decided to make this into a forest node up here, these are pretty common. So what I might do is actually put in a hunter. A hunter will help us get... I'm going to put the hunter on the up here a little ways. For some reason, I don't know, maybe I'm crazy, but for some reason I feel like hunters do better when they border a little bit of water, because the water brings the animals. So I'm going to put this hunter here. It might be a bad decision, but I'm going to go with it. I trust my gut. Also, I just happened to notice that we've got quite a bit of stone uncollected up here. So we'll gather that. Let's see how far... Okay, the forester is going to replenish that part of the forest, so maybe while we're working up there, we can grab some of that as well. We need to get this number of trees up. We should be bringing in a lot more than 20 per season. We should be bringing in a lot more than that. Okay, so there should be some linen now. And I'm bummed that we still don't have any coats in extra stock. We really should be catching up to that. So once these 6 linen are turned into however many coats, they can make 1 or 2 hide coats for each. Then we will switch and start making cotton into cloth and keep doing the same thing. Again, a lot of micromanagement on that part of it. We've got over 3,000 food, so we're doing really good there. And you can see how many resources there are in this little area as well. So we might need to think about housing at this point. We don't have a town center yet, so we can't look at our housing stats. But we see here 2 young adults and a child. So you can do that with all of these places and see, do we have, okay, so here's two, we'll call them marriage eligible young men. Two men of childbearing years and a 7-year-old. I know that's a girl, but they become childbearing at age 10 in this game. No judgment, you know, it's live and let live. It was another time. So here's 3 more guys. Well, he's a little too young, but 2 more marriage eligible guys. A 35-year-old bachelor sitting there. I think we have a house up here. So there's a 12-year-old girl and a 37-year-old woman. So I'm not exactly sure why that's happening that way, but maybe what we'll do is we'll put a house down here. We'll do another of these 2-story houses. And then that way when we get some, what was that, yellow? Hit the F key to, uh-oh, I went right past it. That way when we get some shore-based work down here, maybe some industry along here, then if they have excess products, we could try to trade them there. I think we'll do that. I also think because we're stabilizing our stone, our iron is doing better, I think I'm going to go ahead and for my last gesture of the video, I'm going to mark this copper to be collected. We will pick up here next time. Thank you everyone for watching, and I hope you enjoyed learning a little bit more about the Red Ketchup mod.